Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Unveiling Human Treachery and Oppression from Ahlul Bayt AS to today. Today we're going to talk about a story of power, betrayal, and the strength of truth. We're going to talk about Imam Mohammad Taqi AS, the 10th Imam, a man who stood strong in the face of treachery even in his short 25 years life. Imam Mohammad Taqi AS lived in a time of political unrest. The Abbasids, scared of his influence, plotted against him, as they had plotted against his father Imam Ali Raza AS. Al-Mamoun, the Caliph at that time, in a strategic move, married his daughter Umm Al-Fazl to the Imam. He was hoping that the lineage of the Imamat will continue through him, but only Allah knows his plans, and Allah knows the treachery that they were trying to commit. This was a time of quick change of caliphs, creating a volatile political environment ripe for conspiracies and power struggles. Al-Mamoun's time in power didn't last that long. His death marked the end of his plans, but the betrayal against Imam Muhammad Taqi as did not stop there. Al-Fazl, the daughter of Mamoun, played a disgusting role in the middle of political power games and found herself at the center of this tragedy. She was unable to bear the Imam a son, while his other wife had given him a son. This jealousy, along with the manipulation of those hungry for power, led her to betray the Imam. She ultimately administered the poison to the Imam that would take his life and lead to his martyrdom. The Imam was martyred by Al-Mutasim on the 29th of Zikad at the age of 25. The martyrdom of Imam Muhammad Taqi al-Islam is a reminder of how far people will go to keep the power, the tragic results of political and personal betrayal, and the ultimate sacrifices made by those who stand for truth and justice. It's a stark contrast to the image of the Abbasis as pious leaders during the so called golden era of Islam. In reality, they were oppressive, manipulative, and tyrants who stood against the signs of Allah, the concept of justice, and the principles of humanity. As we think about the life and martyrdom of Imam Muhammad Taqi salam, let's remember the words of Allah in the Quran, where Allah says, they intend to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah will complete His light even though the disbelievers hate it. In the face of oppression, the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam stood firm, their resolve unbroken. They faced the treachery of those who sought to distort the truth, to rewrite the history in their favor. But the truth, dear listeners, is not so easily erased. It persists, it endures, and it continues to shine a light in the darkest corners of our past. The Abbasids, who many Muslims, 85% of the Muslim population today regard as the golden era of Islam because they were in power and were able to manipulate history, they were not the pious leaders they are portrayed to be. They portrayed themselves to be, but rather they were the architects of the grand deception against the household of the Prophet, against the Hujjah of Allah, against the signs of Allah, martyring the progeny of Sayyida Fatima Zahra and Hazrat Abu Talib alayhis salam one by one, either by sword or poison. As we navigate through the narratives of power and betrayal, let us not lose sight of truth. Let us remember the sacrifices of Imams alayhi salam, Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam, and all the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Let us honor their legacy of truth, justice, and resilience. Let us commit to uncovering the distortions of history and shining a light on the truth, knowing that the power will not only first commit to treachery, but they will whitewash the truth to change the narrative. And that is what they've done throughout history. And we will talk about it more and more. In the end, the fight for justice is not just a fight to right the wrongs of the past. It's about creating a future when truth and justice are more important than power and convenience. It's about living up to the principles that the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam stood for. As we conclude this episode, let's remember the words of the Quran. O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witness for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives. Let's stand up for justice. Let's honor the legacy of Ahlul Bayt Islam, and let's challenge the stories of power and betrayal that have twisted the truth. Because without that, we will not fix ourselves today. And without fixing ourselves today, we will not fix our tomorrow. And we will continuously be stuck in this rut that we have been stuck for the past 1400 years. Until next time, dear listeners, may Allah keep all of us safe and stand tall, stand strong, and let the light of truth guide our way. Assalamu alaikum.